Admiral Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of his ship and watched death approach. The alien fleet filled the view screen like a swarm of angry insects. Each ship glowed with blue light that pulsed like a heartbeat. They were beautiful and terrible at the same time. "How many ships do they have?" Morrison asked. 212, sir, said Commander Lisa Hayes. Her voice was steady, but Morrison could see the fear in her eyes. "Our scouts counted them 3 times to be sure." Morrison nodded slowly. Earth's fleet had only 47 ships left. 3 years of war had destroyed everything else. The aliens called themselves the Zephyrian Empire, and they were winning. The bridge was quiet except for the soft beeping of computers. Everyone knew what those numbers meant. Everyone understood that Earth was about to die. "Sir, we're getting a transmission from Earth Command," said the communications officer. "Put it on screen." General Marcus Webb appeared on the main display. His face looked older than Morrison remembered. The war had aged them all, but Webb looked like he had lived through 10 wars instead of 1. "Jake, I know what you're thinking," Webb said. "The numbers look bad." "The numbers are bad, Marcus. We can't win this fight." "Maybe we can't win it the normal way," Webb replied. "But we might have another option." Morrison raised an eyebrow. "What kind of option?" "I can't say over an open channel. Too many ears listening. But I'm sending you some coordinates. Take a small group of ships and check them out. You might find something interesting." "Marcus, we don't have time for games. The aliens will attack in 72 hours. Trust me, Jake. This might be exactly what we need." The transmission ended. Morrison stared at the empty screen for a long moment. Behind him, his officers waited for orders. Captain Ryan Brooks stepped. "Freud." "Admiral, should we prepare for battle?" "Not yet," Morrison said. "Hayes, how long would it take to reach these coordinates?" Hayes checked her computer. "About 6 hours, sir. They're in the asteroid belt." "The asteroid belt? What could be out there?" "Only one way to find out," Morrison said. "Brooks, choose 2 destroyers to come with us. Tell them we're setting up a fallback position." "Yes, sir." As his officers rushed to carry out orders, Morrison looked at the alien fleet again. The Zephyrians had given Earth the same choice they gave every human world: surrender or die. 12 colonies had already fallen. Earth was the last free human world in the galaxy. The alien ships were not like human ships. They looked alive, like giant sea creatures swimming through space. Their hulls could heal when damaged. Their weapons could bend space and time. Their technology was so advanced that human scientists barely understood how it worked. Morrison remembered the first time he had seen a Zephyrian ship. It was 3 years ago, during the battle for New Geneva. The alien vessel had taken direct hits from every weapon in the human fleet. The damage had simply healed itself, like skin growing back over a wound. That day, Morrison learned that humanity was not alone in the universe. He also learned that the neighbors were not friendly. "Admiral, the escort ships are ready," Hayes reported. "Good. Take us to those coordinates. Maximum speed." The ship turned away from Earth and headed for the asteroid belt. Morrison did not know what Webb wanted him to find, but he hoped it was something better than rocks and ice. The journey to the asteroid belt gave Morrison time to think. Earth's defense fleet was the best humanity could build, but it was not good enough. The ships were tough and the crews were brave, but they were fighting with weapons that were 100 years behind alien technology. "Sir, we're approaching the coordinates," the pilot announced. Morrison looked at the view screen. All he could see were asteroids floating in space. Some were as big as buildings. Others were as small as cars. None of them looked special. "You sure these are the right coordinates?" Morrison asked. "Yes, sir. This is exactly where General Webb told us to go." Morrison was about to order a return to Earth when his communications officer spoke up. "Sir, I'm picking up a transmission. It's coming from inside the asteroid field." "From where?" "I'm not sure, sir. The signal is very weak. Can you clean it up?" The officer worked at his controls for several minutes. Finally, a voice came through the speakers. It was clear and strong. "UES Defender, this is Admiral Kate Newman. Welcome to Project Titan." Morrison felt his heart skip a beat. Admiral Newman had been declared missing in action 2 years ago. Her ship had vanished during a routine patrol mission. Everyone assumed she was dead. Kate? Kate Newman? Is that really you? Hello, Jake. Sorry for the mystery, but we had to. Be careful. Follow my beacon. I have something to show you. A new signal appeared on Morrison's navigation screen. It led deeper into the asteroid field, to a place where the rocks were packed so thick that it was hard to see anything. Follow that signal, Morrison ordered. As they moved deeper into the asteroids, Morrison began to notice something strange. The rocks were not floating randomly like they should be. They were arranged in patterns like they were hiding something. Then, he saw it. One of the asteroids was not an asteroid at all. It was a ship, the biggest ship Morrison had ever seen. It was black as space itself and shaped like a knife. As he watched, other fake asteroids began to move away from it. The ship was massive. It was longer than 3 normal carriers put together. Its hull was smooth and curved, not angular like human ships usually were. Strange lights ran along its sides like veins carrying blood. My God, Morrison whispered. What is that thing? That, said Admiral Newman's voice over the radio, is humanity's secret weapon. That is the USS Liberty. Morrison stared at the enormous ship. For the first time in 3 years, he felt something he had almost forgotten. He felt hope. Kate, he said slowly, we need to talk. Admiral Kethvar stood on the bridge of his dying flagship and watched his empire's greatest fleet fall apart. The neural link that had made his bioships invincible was gone, destroyed by human weapons that should not have existed. Admiral, the neural core is completely destroyed, his tactical officer reported. We have lost contact with 60% of the fleet. Kethvar's black eyes burned with rage, and something else he had not felt in years. Fear. The humans had hidden technology that matched Zephyrian science. This small primitive species had kept secrets that could change the entire war. Signal all ships to retreat, he commanded. The words tasted like poison in his mouth. No Zephyrian fleet had ever retreated from human space. On the bridge of the USS Liberty, Admiral Newman watched the alien fleet breaking apart. Bioships that had fought with perfect coordination now moved like lost animals. Some fired at each other by mistake. Others simply drifted in space, their organic brains too damaged to function. Wing Commander Parker, pursue the fleeing ships, Newman ordered. But don't chase them too far. We need to keep some fighters here to protect Earth. The F-44 Phantoms raced after the retreating aliens like hunting dogs chasing wounded prey. Their gravity drives let them catch bioships that should have been faster. Fusion weapons cut through living hulls, leaving burning wrecks floating in space. Lieutenant Sam Wright led his squadron against a group of alien cruisers trying to escape toward the outer system. His fighters appeared behind the bioships like ghosts materializing from empty space. Target their engines, Wright commanded. Don't let any of them reach hyperspace. The Phantoms opened fire with surgical precision. Their weapons burned through the organic engines that powered the alien ships. Bioships that had terrorized human colonies for 3 years died in brilliant explosions. Admiral Morrison's battered fleet joined the pursuit. Human ships that had been retreating minutes before now advanced with renewed courage. Captains who thought they were fighting their last battle suddenly found themselves winning the most important victory in human history. Sir, we're getting reports from across the system, Commander Hayes announced. The remaining alien ships are fleeing in all directions. Their formation has completely collapsed. Morrison nodded with satisfaction. The neural link that had made the Zephyrian fleet so dangerous had become their weakness. When the connection was broken, individual ship commanders had no idea how to coordinate with each other. Captain Brooks studied the tactical display. Sir, we count 47 alien ships destroyed and 38 fleeing the system. The rest are dead in space or surrendering. Morrison looked at the numbers and felt amazed. An hour ago, Earth's fleet had been facing certain death. Now they had won the most decisive victory in the war against the Zephyrian Empire. Dr. Ross worked frantically at her science station aboard the Liberty. Admiral Newman, I'm detecting massive energy signatures from the alien flagship, Kethvar, might be preparing to self-destruct rather than surrender. Newman turned to Captain Joe Martinez, who had just returned from the assault on the neural core. Can your fighters stop him? Martinez checked his squadron status. We lost 4 fighters in the attack, but the rest are still combat ready. If that ship tries anything, we'll stop it. The Devourer of Worlds limped toward the edge of the solar system, its biomechanical hull bleeding strange fluids into space. The massive command ship had ruled the battlefields of a dozen human worlds, but now it fled from Earth like a wounded beast. Admiral Kethvar stood in his command center and tried to understand what had happened. His species had conquered half the galaxy using biotechnology that seemed like magic to most races. How had humans developed weapons that could match Zephyrian science? Admiral, we are receiving a transmission from the human fleet, his communications officer reported. Put it on screen. Admiral Newman appeared on the display, standing on the bridge of her impossible ship. Behind her, Kethvar could see technology that looked both human and alien at the same time. Admiral Kethvar, Newman said calmly, this is Admiral Newman of the Earth Defense Fleet. Your invasion has failed. Leave our system immediately and do not return. Kethvar studied the human commander with growing respect. This female had hidden a supercarrier in the asteroid belt for years, building a weapon that could defeat the Empire's finest fleet. Admiral Newman, he replied, you have surprised me today, but this war is far from over. The Empire will send more fleets. Let them come, Newman said without emotion. Earth is ready. The transmission ended. Kethvar looked around his damaged bridge and made a decision that would change the course of the war. Signal the Empire, he ordered. Tell them that humanity possesses advanced technology. They are not the primitive species we believed them to be. As the alien flagship limped toward hyperspace, its message raced ahead at faster than light speed. Within hours, every Zephyrian commander in the galaxy would know that Earth had revealed a secret weapon. Back in Earth's orbital space, the Liberty floated among the wreckage of the greatest space battle in human history. The massive Supercarrier had proven that humanity could build ships to match any alien technology. Admiral Morrison transferred to the Liberty to meet with Newman and her crew. As he walked through the curved corridors of the advanced ship, he felt like he was stepping into the future. Kate, what you've accomplished here is incredible, Morrison said as they stood on the Liberty's bridge. But now the secret is out. The aliens will adapt their tactics. Newman nodded. That's why we can't stop here. The Liberty was just the prototype. We need to build more ships like her. Chief Engineer Walsh joined their conversation. The construction facilities are already being expanded. Within 2 years, we can have a fleet of supercarriers ready for action. Morrison smiled at the thought. A fleet of ships like this could take the war to the aliens. We could liberate the conquered human worlds. That's exactly what we plan to do, Newman replied. Earth has been playing defense for 3 years. It's time to go on the attack. Dr. Ross approached with a datapad in her hands. Admirals, I've been analyzing the battle data. Our weapons were even more effective than we hoped. The alien bioships couldn't adapt fast enough to counter our fusion technology. Wing Commander Parker landed his fighter and joined the group on the bridge. His uniform was soaked with sweat, but he was grinning like a man who had just won the lottery. Admiral, my pilots are calling this the best day of their lives, he reported. The Phantoms performed perfectly. The aliens never knew what hit them. Morrison looked around the bridge at the crew that had saved Earth. These people had worked in secret for 5 years, sacrificing their old lives to build humanity's salvation. Their dedication had turned certain defeat into glorious victory. Sir, we're getting reports from across human space, Communications Officer Taylor announced. Resistance groups on the conquered worlds are rising up. They heard about our victory and they're fighting back. Morrison felt his heart swell with pride. The news of Earth's victory was spreading faster than the aliens could contain it. Human colonies that had been crushed under alien rule were remembering that they were not helpless. Admiral Newman walked to the main view screen and looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, the Zephyrian Empire was learning that humanity would not go quietly into extinction. Jake, she said quietly, This is just the beginning. The aliens thought they could conquer us because we were primitive and weak. Today, we showed them they were wrong. Morrison joined her at the view screen. In the distance, he could see Earth, blue and beautiful and free. The homeworld of humanity had survived its darkest hour. "What's our next move?" he asked. Newman smiled. "We're going to take back every human world the aliens conquered. We're going to show the galaxy that Earth fights for its children." The USS Liberty turned toward the stars, leading a fleet that would carry human freedom to the farthest reaches of space. The sleeping giant had awakened, and the universe would never be the same. In the months that followed, news of Earth's victory spread across the galaxy. Other species that had been conquered by the Zephyrian Empire began to hope that they too might find freedom. The humans had proven that the Empire could be defeated. Admiral Kethvar's warning reached the Zephyrian High Command, but it was too late to stop what Earth had started. Humanity was no longer hiding. The secret supercarrier had become a symbol that inspired rebellion across a dozen worlds. The war that had seemed hopeless was now a fight that humanity could win. Earth's secret weapon had turned the tide of battle, but more importantly, it had shown the galaxy that freedom was worth fighting for. The age of human expansion had begun. The alien fleet struck Earth's defenders like a hammer hitting glass. Admiral Morrison watched in horror as the first wave of bioships tore through his formation. Their living hulls absorbed human weapons fire, while their own energy beams cut through metal armor as if it was paper. "We've lost the destroyer Phoenix," Commander Hayes reported, her voice tight with controlled fear. "The cruiser Defiant is taking heavy damage." Morrison gripped his command chair as his ship shook from alien weapon hits. Through the view screen, he could see bioships that looked like giant sea creatures swimming through space. Their hulls pulsed with bioluminescent patterns that seemed to communicate with each other. "Sir, the orbital defense platforms are under attack," Captain Brooks announced. Platform 7 just went dark. The space around Earth had become a hell of fire and death. Human ships exploded in brilliant flashes while alien vessels seemed to shrug off damage that should have destroyed them. Morrison had known this would be a hard fight, but seeing it happen was worse than he had imagined. "Admiral Kethvar's flagship is taking position," Brooks continued. Just like intelligence predicted, Morrison looked at the tactical display. The massive alien command ship, the Devourer of Worlds, had moved to the center of the formation. It was 3 times larger than any human vessel, its biomechanical hull covered in neural tendrils that reached out to connect with other ships. "Signal the Liberty," Morrison ordered. "Tell Newman that the trap is set." In the asteroid belt, Admiral Newman watched the battle through long-range sensors. Morrison's fleet was dying, but they were buying time with their blood. Every minute they survived gave her plan a better chance of success. "The alien command ship has established full neural link," Dr. Ross reported from her science station. "All 200 ships are now operating as a single organism." Newman nodded grimly. The neural link made the alien fleet incredibly dangerous, but it also created the vulnerability they needed. Admiral Kethvar's ship was now locked in position, unable to move without breaking the connection. "Wing Commander Parker, launch all fighters," Newman ordered. The Liberty's massive bay doors opened like the jaws of a hungry beast. F-44 Phantom fighters poured out in waves, their sleek forms moving with grace that seemed to defy physics. Unlike the angular shapes of normal human ships, the Phantoms curved and flowed like living creatures. Lieutenant Sam Wright led the first squadron toward the alien fleet. His fighter's gravity drive created ripples in space-time as he accelerated past, the speed that normal engines could achieve. Behind him, 49 other pilots followed in perfect formation. "Remember your training," Wright said over the radio. "The aliens expect us to attack in straight lines. Instead, we're going to dance around them like ghosts." The Phantoms reached the edge of the alien formation and suddenly vanished. Their gravity drives bent space around them, making them invisible to alien sensors. When they reappeared, they were behind the bioship, striking at weak points that normal human weapons could never reach. Admiral Kethvar felt the first attacks through his neural link. The sensations were wrong, impossible. Human fighters were not supposed to move like that. They were not supposed to appear and disappear like phantoms. "What are these vessels?" he demanded of his tactical officer. "Unknown, Admiral. They appear to be human fighters, but they use technology we have never encountered." Kethvar studied the tactical display with growing alarm. The strange human fighters were attacking his fleet's communication nodes, the biomechanical organs that maintained the neural link between ships. Each successful strike weakened his control over the formation. Back on Earth's moon, Morrison's fleet continued their desperate fight. The human ships were outgunned and outnumbered, but they refused to break. Every captain knew that Earth's survival depended on their ability to hold the alien fleet in position. "Sir, we've lost 8 ships," Hayes reported. "The remaining vessels are taking heavy damage." Morrison watched another human destroyer explode under alien fire. Good people were dying while he waited for Newman's plan to work. He hoped their sacrifice would not be in vain. "Sir, I'm detecting massive energy signatures from the asteroid belt," the sensor operator announced. "Something big is coming this way." Morrison smiled for the first time since the battle began. "That's our secret weapon. All ships, prepare for friendly reinforcements." The USS Liberty emerged from the asteroid field like a dark angel of death. Its hull was black as space itself, absorbing light rather than reflecting it. Energy patterns ran along its sides like glowing veins, and its fusion cannons charged with power that made nearby asteroids glow. The appearance of the massive human Supercarrier sent shockwaves through both fleets. Human ships that had been fighting desperately suddenly found new hope. Alien vessels hesitated for the first time in the war, their collective consciousness struggling to understand this new threat. "All human ships. This is Admiral Newman aboard the USS Liberty," came the transmission. "Earth will not fall today." The Liberty's main weapons opened fire, sending beams of pure fusion energy across space. The beams struck alien bioships and burned through their living hulls like acid through flesh. Ships that had seemed invulnerable suddenly found themselves dying. Wing Commander Parker led his fighters in coordinated attacks on the alien fleet's outer ships. The F-44 Phantoms used their gravity manipulation to create space-time distortions that confused alien targeting systems. They appeared behind enemy vessels, struck with precision, and vanished before return fire could reach them. "This is impossible," Admiral Kethvar snarled. "Humans do not possess such technology." But the evidence was right in front of him. The human supercarrier was matching his bioship's weapon for weapon. The strange fighters were outmaneuvering vessels that should have been faster and more agile. Worst of all, his neural link was being systematically destroyed. Dr. Ross monitored the battle from the Liberty Science Station. "The alien command ship is trying to break neural link," she reported. "But if Kethvar moves now, his fleet will lose coordination." Newman understood the alien admiral's dilemma. Kethvar could save his flagship by moving, but that would leave his other ships vulnerable. Or he could maintain the link and hope his fleet could destroy the Liberty before it reached him. "Target the command ship's neural array," Newman ordered. "Everything depends on breaking that link." Captain Joe Martinez led the final assault squadron toward the Devourer of Worlds. His 12 fighters had the most dangerous job in the battle. They had to penetrate the flagship's defenses and destroy the biomechanical brain that controlled the entire alien fleet. The assault squadron used their gravity drives to approach the command ship from impossible angles. They twisted through space in ways that made alien gunners dizzy. Energy beams passed through empty space where the fighters should have been. Martinez saw the neural array ahead of him, a massive organic structure that pulsed with alien thoughts. It was beautiful and horrible at the same time, like a giant brain floating in space. "All fighters concentrate fire on the central node," he ordered. The Phantoms opened fire with weapons that channeled the power of stars. Fusion beams struck the neural array and began burning through its biomechanical structure. The alien consciousness screamed in pain and rage as its thoughts were scattered. Admiral Kethvar felt the neural link collapsing. His connection to the fleet was breaking apart like a spider web in a fire. Individual ship commanders began reporting that they could no longer coordinate with the formation. "Admiral, we must retreat," his tactical officer urged. "The humans have surprised us with superior technology." Kethvar looked at the tactical display and realized that the impossible had happened. Humanity, The primitive species he had conquered so easily before had built weapons that matched Zephyrian technology. The destruction of the neural core created a cascade failure throughout the alien fleet. Bioships that had moved with perfect coordination suddenly became confused and isolated. They turned on each other, their damaged communication systems sending conflicting orders. Morrison's battered fleet, inspired by the Liberty's arrival, launched desperate counterattacks. Human ships that had been retreating suddenly advanced, striking at alien vessels that no longer fought as a unified force. "Sir, the alien fleet is breaking apart," Hayes reported with amazement in her voice. "They're retreating toward the edge of the system." Morrison watched as the mighty Zephyrian fleet fled from human space. Ships that had seemed invincible were now running from Earth like frightened animals. The impossible had become real. The USS Liberty had turned the tide of battle in less than an hour. Humanity's secret weapon had proven that Earth could fight back against any enemy. But Morrison knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy was about to learn that humanity would not go quietly into extinction. Morrison returned to his ship with a head full of plans and a heart full of hope. He had 18 hours to prepare Earth's fleet for the most important battle in human history. The main fleet gathered near Earth's moon. Morrison looked at his 47 ships and tried not to think about the 200 alien vessels waiting at the edge of the solar system. His ships were old and battle-worn. Many showed scars from previous fights, but their crews were ready to die for Earth. "Admiral, all ships report ready for battle," Commander Hayes said. "Good. Send them the real battle plan. Eyes only for ship commanders." Morrison had given his captains false orders in case alien spies were listening. The real plan was much more dangerous. His fleet would fight a losing battle while the Liberty waited for the perfect moment to strike. Captain Brooks studied the tactical display. "Sir, this plan requires us to take a beating for several hours. We might lose half the fleet before the Liberty can help." "I know," Morrison said quietly, "but it's the only way to make the aliens think they're winning. If they suspect a trap, they'll change their formation." Communications Officer Beth Taylor interrupted them. "Sir, I'm getting reports from our spy networks. The alien fleet is moving into attack position." Morrison nodded. The Zephyrian Empire used the same strategy on every human world. They would surround the planet, demand surrender, and then attack with overwhelming force. The aliens were confident because they had never lost a major battle. "What do we know about their commander?" Morrison asked. Captain Jim Foster, the fleet's intelligence officer, stepped forward. "Admiral Kethvar commands the fleet. He's one of their best generals. His ship is called the Devourer of Worlds." "Cheerful name," Brooks muttered. "The aliens like to intimidate their enemies," Foster continued. "But Kethvar is more than just a scary name. He's conquered 15 human worlds. He knows our tactics better than we do." Morrison studied the intelligence files. Admiral Kethvar looked like a cross between a shark and a spider. His species had evolved on a water world where only the strongest survived. The aliens respected strength and despised weakness. "Sir, incoming transmission from the alien fleet," Taylor announced. "Put it on screen." The view screen filled with the image of Admiral Kethvar. His black eyes reflected no emotion as he spoke in perfect English. "Human Admiral Morrison, I am Kethvar of the Zephyrian Empire. You will surrender your fleet and your world within 1 hour, or I will destroy everything you hold dear." Morrison stepped forward. "Admiral Kethvar, Earth does not surrender. If you want our world, you'll have to take it." The alien's mouth opened to show rows of sharp teeth. "Very well. Your courage is admirable but pointless. My fleet will crush your ships like insects." The transmission ended. Morrison turned to his crew. "You heard him? Battle stations." Alarms rang throughout the ship as the crew prepared for combat. Morrison watched his people work and felt proud. They knew they were probably going to die, but they were ready to fight anyway. "Sir, the Liberty report's ready," Hayes said quietly. "Good. Tell Admiral Newman to wait for my signal." Morrison walked to the center of the bridge. Outside, he could see the alien fleet approaching. The bioships moved in perfect formation, their hulls glowing with energy. They looked like a school of luminescent fish swimming through the darkness of space. "All ships, this is Admiral Morrison," he said into his communicator. "Today we fight for more than just Earth. We fight for the future of humanity. Every man and woman in this fleet is a hero. Let's show these aliens what humans can do." The alien fleet spread out as it approached Earth. Morrison watched their formation and felt his stomach tighten. The aliens were even more organized than intelligence reports had suggested. Their ships moved like a single living creature. "Sir, the enemy flagship is taking position at the center of their formation," Brooks reported. Morrison smiled grimly. This was exactly what they had hoped for. "Signal the Liberty. Tell Newman that Kethvar is following the predicted pattern." In the asteroid belt, Admiral Newman received Morrison's message. She stood on the bridge of the Liberty and watched the battle beginning near Earth. Her ship was hidden among fake asteroids, invisible to alien sensors. "All pilots to their fighters," Newman ordered. "This is what we've trained for." Wing Commander Parker led 200 pilots to their F-44 Phantoms. The fighters were smaller than normal human ships, but they packed more firepower than anything in the regular fleet. More importantly, they could move in ways that would confuse alien targeting systems. "Remember your training," Parker told his pilots over the radio. "The aliens expect us to fight like humans. Instead, we're going to fight like aliens. Use your gravity drives. Make them wonder what they're fighting." Dr. Ross monitored the alien fleet from her science station. "The command ship is beginning to establish neural links with the other vessels," she reported. "Kethvar is preparing for coordinated attack." "How long until the link is complete?" Newman asked. 14 minutes. Once it's established, Kethvar's ship will be locked in position. He won't be able to move without breaking the connection." Newman nodded. The alien command system was incredibly effective, but it had one critical weakness. During large battles, the flagship had to remain motionless to coordinate the other ships. For those crucial minutes, the most powerful ship in the alien fleet would be defenseless. "Sir, Admiral Morrison's fleet is engaging the enemy," reported Lieutenant Colonel Max Turner. Newman watched the tactical display as human ships opened fire on the alien fleet. The battle looked hopeless. Human weapons barely scratched the living. Hulls of the bioships, while alien energy beams cut through human armor like paper. But Morrison's fleet was not trying to win. They were trying to survive long enough for the Liberty to strike. Every minute they lasted gave Newman's plan a better chance of success. "The alien flagship is locking into command position," Dr. Ross announced. "Neural link at 60% and rising." Newman felt her heart race. Everything depended on the next few minutes. If the plan failed, Earth would fall and humanity would be extinct within a year. "All stations report ready," Chief Walsh said from engineering. "Fusion cannons charged to maximum power. Fighter squadrons ready for launch," Parker added. Newman looked around her bridge. Her crew had worked in secret for 5 years, building a weapon that could save humanity. Now they would learn if their sacrifice had been worth it. "Neural link at 90%, Dr. Ross said. The alien fleet is fully coordinated." Newman took a deep breath. "Signal Admiral Morrison. Tell him we're beginning our attack run." The Liberty's engines came to life, pushing the massive ship out of its hiding place. Fake asteroids fell away as the Supercarrier revealed itself to the universe. For the first time in human history, Earth had a ship that could match alien technology. "All fighters, launch immediately," Newman ordered. The Liberty's bay doors opened, and F-44 Phantoms poured out like angry hornets. Their gravity drives created ripples in space as they accelerated toward the alien fleet. Newman smiled as she watched her fighters disappear into the distance. The aliens were about to learn that humanity had been keeping secrets. "Take us to battle speed," she ordered. "It's time to save Earth." Morrison's shuttle flew toward the massive black ship. Up close, the USS Liberty looked even bigger than before. Its hull stretched out like a small city floating in space. Morrison had never seen anything like it. "How long has this been here?" he asked Admiral Newman, who sat across from him in the shuttle. 5 years, Newman replied. We started building it right after the first alien attack. The government knew we needed something special to fight them. 5 years? How did you keep it secret? Newman smiled. We told everyone I was dead. Made it easier to work without questions. The shuttle landed in a huge bay inside the Liberty. Morrison stepped out and looked around. The bay was filled with small fighter ships, but they did not look like any fighters he had seen before. They were sleek and smooth, with no sharp edges. Those are F-44 Phantoms, said a man walking toward them. He was tall and thin with grease on his hands. I'm Chief Engineer Dan Walsh. I designed them myself. Morrison shook the man's hand. They look different from our normal fighters. They are different. These ships can do things that would make your pilots throw up, Walsh said with a grin. Want to see the rest of the ship? They walked through corridors that curved and flowed like water. The walls were smooth and warm to the touch. Everything looked alien, but Morrison knew it was human technology. We learned a lot from studying crashed alien ships, Newman explained. Their technology is based on different ideas than ours. We had to think differently to match them. They entered a large room filled with computers and screens. A woman with short black hair turned to greet them. Admiral Morrison, this is Dr. Helen Ross. She runs our science department. Dr. Ross nodded. Admiral, what we've learned about alien technology is amazing. Their ships are alive in a way. The hulls can think and heal themselves. Their weapons use gravity and time as tools. How do we fight something like that? Morrison asked. By thinking like them, Walsh said. Our new weapons use fusion power to create energy beams that can cut through their living hulls. Our fighters use gravity drives that let them move in ways that break the normal rules of space. They walked to another section of the ship. Morrison saw hundreds of people working at computers and machinery. Everyone looked busy and excited. How many crew do you have? Morrison asked. 3,000, Newman replied. The best engineers, pilots, and scientists Earth could find. They all volunteered to disappear from their old lives to work on this project. Morrison met Wing Commander Steve Parker next. Parker was a short man with quick eyes and steady hands. He looked like the kind of pilot who could fly through a thunderstorm and come out smiling. My pilots have been training for 3 years, Parker said. We've run every simulation we could think of. We know how to fight alien ships. But you've never fought real ones, Morrison pointed out. No, sir, but we've studied every battle recording from the war. We know their tactics. We know their weaknesses. Newman led Morrison to the bridge of the Liberty. It was unlike any ship bridge Morrison had seen. Instead of sharp angles and metal walls, everything curved smoothly. The command chairs looked like they had grown from the floor. The ship's brain is different too, Newman explained. Instead of simple computers, we use quantum processors that can think almost like a living mind. The ship can react to threats faster than any human could. Morrison sat in the captain's chair. Screens appeared in the air around him, showing information about the ship and the space around it. He felt like he was inside the ship's thoughts. This is incredible, he said. But can it really fight an entire alien fleet? Let me show you something, Newman said. She touched a control panel and the main screen lit up. The screen showed a simulation of space battle. Morrison watched as F-44 Phantom fighters attacked alien ships. The small human fighters moved like nothing he had ever seen. They twisted and turned through space, appearing behind alien ships and striking before the aliens could react. The Phantoms use gravity manipulation, Walsh explained. They can bend space around themselves. From the alien point of view, our fighters seem to teleport. And the main weapons? Morrison asked. Newman smiled. Watch this. The simulation showed the Liberty firing its main guns. Beams of pure energy lanced out and struck alien ships. The living hulls that could heal normal damage simply dissolved under the fusion fire. We tested the weapons on captured alien hull material, Dr. Ross said. Our fusion cannons can destroy their ships faster than they can heal. Morrison watched the simulation end with human victory. It looked too good to be true, but the people around him seemed confident. There's something else, Newman said. We've learned how the alien fleets work together. They use a kind of shared mind that connects all their ships. It makes them very dangerous, but it also gives them a weakness. Dr. Ross stepped forward. The alien fleet has a command ship that controls all the others. If we can destroy that ship, the rest of the fleet loses its coordination. They become easy targets. But getting to the command ship means fighting through the entire fleet, Morrison said. Not if we're smart about it, Parker said. We have a plan. Newman called up a tactical display. It showed Earth, the alien fleet, and the asteroid belt where they were hiding. Your main fleet will engage the aliens near Earth, Newman explained. You'll make them think they're winning. Meanwhile, we'll wait here in the asteroids. When the alien command ship locks into position to coordinate their attack, we'll strike. The command ship has to stay still during big battles, Dr. Ross added. It needs to focus all its energy on controlling the other ships. That's when it's most vulnerable. Morrison studied the plan. It was risky and complicated, but it might work. More importantly, it was the only chance they had. How long do we have? He asked. The aliens will attack Earth in 46 hours, Newman said. We need to be ready. Morrison stood up from the command chair. Around him, the crew of the Liberty continued their work. These people had given up their old lives to build this secret weapon. They had worked in hiding for 5 years, knowing that humanity's survival might depend on their success. Admiral Newman, Morrison said formally, Earth Defense Fleet places itself under your command for this operation. Newman nodded. Thank you, Jake. We won't let Earth down. As Morrison prepared to return to his ship, he felt something he had not felt in years. Earth finally had a chance to win this war. The secret was out, but the real surprise was about to begin. One more thing, Newman said as they walked back to the shuttle bay. When this is over, the galaxy is going to know that humanity can fight back. The aliens won't underestimate us again. Morrison smiled. Good. It's time they learned what humans can do when they're really angry.